Hello everybody and welcome back to Films Presents RC. Now this is how to film an RC car part 3, but this is a subtopic. This is editing, so if editing's not something you're into, you might want to wait till the next one. I've been asked by quite a few people now about editing and stuff like that. It takes a long time to explain editing, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tag in some subtopics of editing as I go throughout the series. So best place to start with editing: hardware, right? You can't polish a turd. No matter how good your software is, you can't polish bad footage. You're gonna have to get yourself a decent-ish phone or camera. Insta360, GoPro 8.9, whatever it is. I don't use them myself. I use a smartphone. So I use a 2019 edition Huawei Mate 20. That is sufficient for me. It's got a Kirin 980 of chip in it or something like that. So it can run, import 4K files quite easily. It can export 4K files quite easily as well. You can render up to about a 30-minute 4K video of this without running into much issues, which, you know, is not bad for a mobile phone, especially one that's 2019. So first thing first, go and get your hardware sorted. Next thing that you're going to have to do, software. So what software are we using? So today we're going to create a quick intro for your RC videos. No better place to start than the intro. Everybody likes to see a good intro to a video. It's the first thing that your viewers watch, isn't it? So it needs to be good, really. Otherwise, the engagement, as we know from watching our analytics, does slip off very quickly if your footage isn't up to scratch. So I don't drag this out too much. What apps do I use? I've got two apps here: KineMaster and Power Director. These are both cracked APK modified files. These are not your original files, and I will explain why in a moment. Basically, if you use these on Android, it means you do not have to pay for the extras, the upgrades and stuff like that, the extra transitions and effects. I get all of that. I get all premium benefits, including the no watermark and 4K direct import and export files, up to 60 frames per second export. But I must turn that on. So on yours, you'll find something similar to mine here. Mine will be a slightly different layout to yours, but in general, it will be similar. Go onto your car, your settings, go down and see if your phone can handle it. Don't forget, allow export in 60 frames per second, allow import, so direct import in raw, in native of 240 per second. It'll already do 4K import and export anyway, so you've just got to enable these two settings if your phone can handle it. So we go off. So we want to start, let's start a new project to do our intro, right? Great thing to start off an intro, either a background colour, so you just choose one single solid background colour there, or I prefer something, if we just get rid of this, I prefer something akin to a wallpaper. So this is like a 4K wallpaper, if you will. So what you can do is you can then layer your image over the top of it. So let's go and get our media files. What do we want to do? We want to take, let's say, another screenshot. We want to overlay it over the top. So let's take this one here. Oops, no, we've not got an overlay. My bad. Right, so here's your background. We're going to layer, so we want to layer. Apologies for that. We want to layer media, don't we? Where were we again? We were on screenshots. Let's go down. That's not the greatest, but what we do, we blow it up and we go down to our opacity here. Now, opacity is basically how visible something is. So 50% is 50% visible. 0, not visible at all. We want something about here, really, and this gives us a nice effect because in with these this is considered a layer now. So this is your original, yeah, this is your base, and this is your layer. So you're building up your layers now. So in animation here, we do want an animation, of course we do. We could have a converge, couldn't we? And we're setting our time here, you see. So the longer we have in this intro, you don't want to make your intro more than about 5 to sort of 8 seconds, really. You'll be amazed how quickly they get bored. Right, so you want to indent this file at the end here, slightly. And I'll explain why in a moment. Right, so let's get our in animation sorted. We're converging in. We need to get our out animation sorted as well, don't we? we are diverging out. So try and keep them similar. You don't want them sort of spinning clockwise on the way out if you've converged in. Do you know what I mean? Right, so we also gonna want, what are we gonna want? We're gonna want some clip graphics, aren't we, to explain what this video is and what we are doing today. So let's go on Urban Star. So graphics are something that overlays on the base. You'll notice around here is the red outline. So this is your base layer that you're affecting now, your base. Right, title text goes here. What do we want? We want, say, the name of your channel. So let's just do RC channel, right? I'm going to change our font. I get access to all these fonts anyway. That's why I use the cracked APK version. Yeah, RC channel. Let's see how this is playing out. Let's have a look. What else do we want on here? We probably want the title of the film as well. So Hummer ATK gets muddy, or mudding of RC, or insert title here sort of thing, you know what I mean? Alright, I want to blow that up a bit. You see these red lines appear here? They're very handy guidelines to tell you when something's bang in the middle. Don't forget, we want to animate this in. If you don't have any animation in and you leave it as none, this is what happens. If I drag that back, now we're watching out for the intro, for the arrival of this Hummer ATK here. Boom, just pops up on the screen. Doesn't look great, does it? So what you want to do is indent from the start a little bit. See here, we've left a little gap. In animation, what do we want it to do? Do we want this to converge? Might look good because the image also converges. You say, well, actually, no, I'd much rather have this towards the bottom here. So what we can do is, obviously, we set our in animation as wipe up or slide up. Enter slide up. And you say, right, well, obviously, you need to sort out your outro for it as well, your animation. So you want to slide down. Last but not least, we must set our font, because nobody wants to see a bad font like that. And it's up to you what colours you use. Red might be quite fitting because we've already got some red in there. And here we're going to have to blow that up so it's more visible. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a shadow on there. See, we're drawing the shadow out here. So let's put a little shadow and an offset on the shadow. Let's do a glow. How much spread do you want on your glow? Do you want it Kevin Talbot thumbnail, or do you want it nice and tasteful and dim? We want it nice and tasteful, no offence, Kev. We want it nice and tasteful, don't we? So here's our intro, and don't forget our final piece of the puzzle will be audio. So what's your audio track going to be for this? Is it going to be a bashing video? So if it's a bashing video, I would recommend something along the lines of a rock song, heavy metal, drum and bass, something fast-paced. Now this, for instance, is going to be the intro for a crawler video. So now we need to go and prepare our files. We've done our intro. Let's have a quick butchers. It's nothing special, but it's only took us a few minutes, yeah? Right, so let's go and prepare. Obviously, if you have much more time, you can give yourself a larger window to do that. The sky's the limit, really, and I'll show you a little bit more on that in a sec. But first of all, we need to prepare our actual video files, don't we? So we're going to go into our Google Photos here, yeah? And we're going to say, right, actually, library. The ones that we want are in here. Now, you'll notice here there's two 15-second files that are identical. Now, I'll show you why. This file here, you see where that's rocking around? Let me just switch it this way so you can see. Let's go back to the start. Now, what we're looking for here in this video is you can actually see that there. You see how the camera's jolting up and down? There's sort of movement, sort of up, down, and all around there. And if we just watch it back, you'll see what I mean. Right, and you can see that, and that's because I'm doing that with my hand. This is not on a gimbal, this is not stabilized with a gimbal. That's electronic image stabilization or mechanical image stabilization. What we're going to do here to solve this is we are going to, if you go on here and edit in Google Photos, you see this little window here. What's this, you'll say? Now this is basically digital image stabilization, and what this does is it cuts a nice little frame and trims all the edges of your video, so when your video's shaking about like this, you don't see that because it's only showing you the inner frame. It's cut some out. It's basically zoomed in and focused, so you don't see any of the shakes that you were seeing before. So how does that look, I hear you ask? Well, I've already stabilized it. And although not perfect, what you will find now is it's much smoother. Yeah, so like I said before, you can't polish a turd. Your footage has to be pretty decent in the first place. For instance, this has been stabilized, and you can see that this is nothing more than me holding it and doing a tilt and a pan at the same time to reveal. Now you see there, that was really smooth, wasn't it? And that's because I've already stabilized this image here using this. So go on your Google Photos, get on your images, your video footage that you're about to inlay, and go and stabilize it first. Now don't get me wrong, it's not an infallible system, but it will help you get some of the smooth intro cinematic pans that you want to sort of engage your viewers with at the start for your intro. Right, so we've done that pretty much. We've got most of that done already to save some time. So we're going to want to add in media, video editor. We want our smooth pan one, and we also want our, which one was it now? Yeah, there we go, it's nice and smooth, so that's our guy. We want to move this little puppet forward. Thank you, that's enough of you. So he's sat before him now, right? So what do we want? We only want the, what do we reckon? Do we reckon the pan? And this is why I do it, you see. I actually filmed this scene about 3 or 4 times, and this is a scene from a video that never actually made it into the video. I only use about 30% of the footage. Go out there and get the footage. You must get lots of takes of, if you're filming a scene, film it 3 or 4 times, because I guarantee you now you'll have issues down the line where you see that the lighting's not right, you've smudged the screen, you've not wiped the lens, you've got your thumb in the shot. So basically, right, do we want a zoom in or a zoom out? I think for this one, we're going to go on a quick zoom in. So what we want to do is we can either slide down here to the point where we want, yeah, or I'll show you, you can go and trim. We get to the point where we want. Here's the part where it starts to reverse motion back towards. Here we go. So what we want to do is cut back a bit. We want to go on our trim, split it playhead. That splits it straight down the middle of that. Get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. So now you'll be wanting your transition. Now a transition is what helps us blend our footage from one to the other. If you notice here, if I play this intro for you, watch, we get a straight solid cut to that, and it's very harsh on the eyes. It's very it's not very forgiving, is it? What we can do, if we've got a dark to a light scenario, we can do a fade through. So here sets your time again. If you've got a long intro, you can afford to have a longer transition. If you've got a short intro, I would keep it about 1 to 1.5 seconds. What we do is start this now, and you'll see that for me is still a bit too jaunty. It's too quick coming out of that transition, which may mean that this specific transition is not really right for us. What could we use instead? We could use a prism glitch. What about that? So glitches are quite helpful if people like a sort of glitch or jaunty, if that's what you're aiming for in your video. You could also do a burn in a sketch. That's something that somebody commented on recently that they liked. So you move that up to sort of 1.8 because these need quite a lot of time, these burn and sketches. So let's see how it looks now as we run through. So here's our intro. That's much better. It's much more gentle on the eyes. It opens it up quite nicely. Yeah. So if you wanted to, now obviously you're going to want to start picking your music. So a lot of the music that I use on here is free for profit stuff. It's royalty free. Let's just do we're not going to do bass line. No, that's got swearing in it, so we're not going to put that on. Let's try a bit of there you go, Andrew. Right, so we want that in there, yeah. First thing you're gonna want to do is click off that, click on your settings, go on audio fade in. Yes, we want an audio fade in. We don't want our music coming on full volume from the moment the video starts, because that's very harsh on the ears. So we're gonna do a 2.5 second delay, nearly a 3 second delay, sorry. And say, still too loud for me there. I don't like it that loud. Perhaps you've got a petrol car and you want to hear the petrol car as you're going. So what you can do on this is you can do a number of things here. You can opt for instance, if you wanted, say at this bit here, in time, somebody was talking in this coming up scene, yeah? What you can do is you can put these 2 points in here, and between those 2 points, put another 2 points side by side, yeah? And you can drag these down. Right the way down. Let's do it. Hey. And let's listen to how that sounds. See, just cuts your sound down. So if you think, ooh, that was a bit too quick, you can raise these up, for instance, and say, well, let's do it like that. And then it's a much more gradual decrease, if that's something that you wanted to do. You could say, oh, the whole thing really could be set at 80. I want it like this or this, but this line in the middle, that white line there, shows you where your volume is in correlation to the how far your video is along. So let's listen to this. We're just imagining here that over this segment there is talking, so you would want a reduced soundtrack level. So that rise there, quick rise that you heard in volume, is great for basher clips and stuff like that. So this, you'll notice here, the beat will kick in at some point. So this is the rise of the music. Here we go. I can see it's coming up now. So when something like this comes on, you can do the run up to the slow-mo run up to the ramp, if you will, if you're doing a basher scene. And then when the bass kicks in, you can do a quick transition. Let's say fast transition here. Let's go this way. So fast transition. Personally, not that much of a fan of these, but obviously the sound's a bit goof there, but you know what I mean, you're getting the idea. We don't want a fast transition for this anyway, because this is a crawler video. But let's just say, what do we want? What do we have first? We got a sketch on the first one, so let's do a simplicity on this. No, I'm not really a fan of simplicity, to be honest with you. Let's do a sketch ripple, why not? I'm not really a fan of these either, but there we go. Put that much slower. Right, so where do we want to cut to here? We want to decide. Right, so we've done our transition. We're going into another slow draw. We've got a sun-soaked scene here. Bam, that's where I would end that. Split again. Now at the end of here, I know there's a little bit of good footage of a tyre actually at the end of here. Oh, here's a good example of a tilt as well. I'll just turn that volume down so we can't hear that annoying Animating song. Sorry, Animating. Here's what we call a tilt. So you start off at the floor and reveal what's there. Now this tilt didn't work because what you see here is that the sun's gone in the background, but you get the idea of what a tilt is. There's some high def footage, there we go. I'm going to chop that there. Chop that there, rid of that, rid of that. And I think we've just about got the makings of our intro. Now this is a little long for an intro really at 18 seconds, isn't it? But don't forget, your viewers can easily be well engaged by an intro to the point where they forget what they're watching is an intro. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, to be honest with you, about how long it is. Just try not to make it too long, sort of 30 seconds. Nobody wants to watch 30 seconds of an intro, but you can get away with 15 to sort of 20. Let's say we don't want any slide flashes because they are quite fast. So I tell you it'll be good, a light leak. So yellow light leaks, Traxxas, I love light leaks in the videos. Go and watch a Traxxas video, it's just full of light leaks transitions. Right, let's see here. And we don't want our sound to actually dip down, do we, like we did before? So not where it was as well, because we realised our clips came too early. So let's have a look. Juke. Turn that up. Alright, let's see what this looks like. Would help if you could hear the music, wouldn't it, really? Always a bonus. So that there is a really good intro for a little bit of water crawling or something like that. Let's just say we wanted to lead on to anything. Camera, camera, camera. Let's just say we wanted a little bit of mudding in there. So let's chop this right down because I don't want all this in here anyway. Let's just say we wanted to capture some, so there you go, a bit of water footage. Bit of TPV water footage from today, you lucky sausages. Right, so we wanted to lead on to this, and obviously this is not going to be a long scene anyway, but let's try and at least capture it where something's happening. Now these scenes here, I won't generally use that much of them. So this here is probably about all I would use of this. A couple of seconds out of a couple of minutes worth of footage, but that's just the way it goes, unfortunately. Right, so what would you want here? You could have a line out. That would be decent for this, maybe. A line walker. And a line walker is good because it signifies the end of the intro. So, for instance, if you wanted to really tie this in, what you could do, for instance, is keep it classy. Go for all crossfades. You've seen the ones that we had before with our sketch fades and our crossfades. So we'll keep our sketch fade, but we'll go for 2 crossfades, and this will keep it relatively the same. And this line walker here will signify the end of that. Just ignore that dip in volume. That's what we did for talking, isn't it? So straight away I can hear myself talking in that. So what we want to do is we want to go and take that right down, audio. So what you'll hear now is nothing but this. So if you wanted to still hear some of the thingy but not talking, you can change the pitch and stuff like that. So let's just say, I know this is a little boring as well because we don't like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little filter for us and make it into black and white. Give you a lovely sepia tone. There you go, there's a good monochrome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you exporting it. Now here's your export options, yeah? Don't want to mess with any of these. Most people will watch stuff in full HD, 1080p, 60 frames a second, and that's because that's what their device is capable of, which is fine. This is what I'm going to upload this video in today, full HD, 1080p, and that's to keep the file size down. You'll notice here we've got a slider. Bitrate. What's this bitrate all about? Now, the higher the bitrate, the better resolution that you're going to have in layman's terms. And we'll notice that this short intro that we've done here, if we rendered it today in full HD 1080p 60 frames per second at a whopping 29.77 megabytes per second, it would be about 100 megabytes, which is a tiny file, isn't it? And you'll notice quickly, keep your eye on this bit here, as I say, let's jump up to 2K. So you've doubled it in size by going 2K. And then you've pretty much 4 times it in size. And that's what it means. You've taken 1080p sort of thing, and you've doubled it up again. And then you've basically times it by 4. And that's what we will go today. We'll go for a 30 frames per second. What you'll notice here is if I slide my bitrate down, you'll notice here, watch. So the general size of it is also dictated to by bitrate. You could slam this bitrate down and still be higher, see here at 32 bitrate per second, than the highest full HD 1080p. So let's say we want full bitrate, but we only want 30 frames per second. Let's just do it at that. Now what it'll do is it'll export. What you don't want to do during this stage is have a low battery, have lots of apps running in the background, or be clicking off this. Don't click off this page. Let it do its thing. Let it export. Plug it into charge. Don't forget, if you're trying to render an 8 gig file, so sort of 30-40 minutes long, your phone's going to get pretty hot pretty quick. And if you have apps running in the background, there's a good chance that it'll crash and it'll stop exporting at some point. Right, so we've done this, so where do we want to open it? Let's open it in Photos. Sorry about that, let's drag it all back. See, so that's basically it. There you go. I mean, that's taken me 27 minutes 36 seconds to be precise to show you how to do. In reality, it would take me probably about 3 minutes to compile what we've just done there, if I didn't have to stop and talk and run you all through it and stuff like that. Usually, to do about a 4-minute video to a 10-minute video, it'll take me anywhere from about sort of 15 to sort of minutes to an hour. Now the video that I uploaded this morning, that took me a few hours. That had multiple overlays, 4K overlays, 2K overlays, moving screens and stuff like that. And that was a little bit more complex in the arrangement of it. But even that only took me a few hours to sort of sort all out. The main gripe was Bluetoothing files over. But let's concentrate on what we're doing here. I think that's a pretty good explanation of how to just render yourself a simple intro for your video. So basically next time you can change your wallpaper, you can change your graphics, you can change your effects, you can change your overlay image obviously for the stills that you've taken. Change this here. You can even go and get font downloaders like flaming text that have animated text or flaming text and stuff like that. Have a different text here, different layout. It could be jaunty, it could be a chilled one. Don't forget as well, your music will obviously denote how your video should look. So if you're going for heavy metal music, you want to have stuff like this, a bit grungy, a bit dark, a bit stuff like that. And so yeah, play around, have a bit of fun with it. You know, there's no right or wrong really to editing, is there? It's just what you can do basically. It's what you're comfortable with doing, isn't it? So you know, there's I'm not advanced. There's people out there that would laugh at what I'm doing right now. So, you know, it's swings and roundabouts, and we've all got our place, haven't we? And we've all got our own thing that we do to keep us happy. But like I said at the beginning, don't fall into the trap of, if you're producing content for other people, make sure it is for other people. Don't put extreme death metal on there if you're just gently pootling your crawler along. You know, it's what you want to listen to, but it's possibly not the best choice to keep viewers anyway. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that little video there, coming up to half an hour now. I'm going to add that on as part 3, and like I said, I'll cover it again in other subtopics and stuff. So thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you soon. Next time I might cover sort of filming techniques that will lead on to those pans and sweeps and stuff, and show you some stuff with a gimbal about how I got the shots for the intro themselves. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. Films out.